I've been wanting to make this video for quite a while now, and I feel like I haven't been completely honest with all of you. We've gained a lot of subscribers over the last year. I'm sure a lot of you don't really know me on the level in which maybe the OG subscribers or the first people that followed me did. And what I want to do in this video is I'm going to give you guys a very detailed, open look at my entire life, from the bad stuff to the traumatic stuff to how I got where I'm at now, because I think success leaves clues. And I want this to serve as inspiration for you guys, because I have a very unique story. I come from literally nothing, and to be able to get here is a blessing in itself. And I think it can help a lot of people who are in similar situations. I don't like sharing this stuff often because it feels kind of like, oh, I'm just trying to get pity and whatever. And I hate that. That's why I kind of don't really share it. But I think this is going to serve a greater good than my personal ego or my selfishness of keeping the story to myself. So let's get started. I am from Southern Ohio. I'm from this little tiny town called Piketon, Ohio. It's known for two things. We have a nuclear plant, and we had like the biggest mass murder in Ohio history, which just so happened to be my neighbors that were the murderers. I used to sneak onto the people that committed this crime's property to fish on their pond, which is crazy to me, but it's a horrible place. It's Southern Ohio. It's like the tip of Appalachia and the Appalachian Mountains. And for example, I couldn't get internet growing up. And that's a big part of this story that you'll see is I could not get internet access even if I wanted. I'm not sure what ethnicity I am, to be quite honest with you guys. My father told me we're like Native American. If you see my mom is like very pale, blonde hair, blue eyes. And my brother is sort of looks like her. I look sort of like my dad. I don't know what ethnicity I am. My mom's side is obviously from Europe, somewhere, Germany, something like that. But my dad's side is kind of a mystery. My dad is not a good guy, and you guys will hear about that in this video. But his family is from Kentucky, and he actually grew up way worse than even I did, which I think is part of that cycle of abuse and just inflicting that upon your next son, right? His father did it to him. He tried to do it to us. I obviously will break that cycle, but I don't know what ethnicity I am. I don't know where we're from. I don't have family history. I don't even know, like, I don't know the furthest thing about our family. There is no history. There is no passed down stuff. It's kind of like a clean slate. It's like, okay, here's life. This is where we're at. So I'm actually going to show you guys exactly where I'm from. So if you zoom out here, I just want you guys to get a picture. This is Kentucky right here. This is Ohio. And I am from right in there. So literally the middle of nowhere, like Kentucky, West Virginia. Like before we moved out in the sticks, we lived in this little town beside a little town. So I'm from Piketon. This little place is called Jasper, and it's basically where the elementary school was, and then it's a couple houses. This is where I first grew up. So when I was born, and obviously like, I think it was till I was like 6 years old, but it's stationary. So this is crazy to look at. It's now remodeled, obviously, but they used to be my grandpa's body shop. He had like a car body shop. It was a business he started after. It was more of like a hobby kind of thing. Like he would work on cars. And so I was around cars and stuff all the time as a kid. But this is it. Like if I turn around for you guys, it's just this road, little houses, middle of nowhere, right? But this is a lot more in town than where we would move to. So this plot of land right here is now been like remodeled a bit, but this used to be a single wide trailer. And that's what I grew up in. So after the trailer, we moved to a larger house. I would say honestly worse, not as nice as that, in the country. So this was like actually 20 minutes out of even the small town. So my papa actually lived on this road, and he had given us the house or land or something. I think he gave us this house. We didn't have central air growing up. We didn't have internet. We couldn't even get it where we lived. The water would freeze in the winters. Like it was like that kind of like super, super rural thing. So the first thing I'm going to talk about after moving to that house, because this I think pertains biggest to my story and to the development of where we're at, is my dad. Guys, my dad is not a good guy. He's very, very, very narcissistic, abusive, one of those kind of people. I'm sure you guys know someone like that in your life. He was like that my whole life. There would be times where he would be good and we would like have fun and go fishing and whatever, but then something would snap and it was like just pure evil in this guy's eyes. And he was a lot bigger than me, like when I was a kid, obviously, and my mom. And some of my earliest memories are him beating us, abusing us, like just literally like kind of like torturing your kids, which is horrible to say. And I don't want you guys to feel bad. I think I'm okay. Like I'm good now. It was like constructive in the way that I used that as my past, but it was really bad. I remember like he would beat on us, bruises on my mom, just fighting, random stuff, throwing stuff at, just craziness. Okay. So that's what I want to preface this story with. And I know it's heavy and it's a bit dramatic, but it's how it was. So we had no money. My dad worked at Petland corporate. He did like odd jobs. And then I remember he got a nice job, which is probably making like 30, 40 grand a year, something like that. And then obviously not managing money well, not financially educated, not intelligent in the sense of what to do with money. So we were poor my whole life, even if he had a job or even when he didn't have a job. So I remember there was a time in 2008 whenever we were thinking of moving to Athens, Ohio, because he had been given the opportunity to franchise a Petland store. So they basically like just let him run a store. I think they put the money up because we definitely didn't have the money. And he ended up embezzling money at this store. And I worked there. That was one of the first experiences I had working, was I was like running around with snakes around my neck at this Petland. So we would drive like 2.5 hours to go to this Petland. We'd drive home. And this was like work for, I don't know, a year, a couple months. I can't remember. He ended up embezzling money or something had happened. And 2008, the recession had hit. We went bankrupt, like actual, I think the family declared bankruptcy. That Petland went to shit. And now we're even worse off than we were before. And now this has like infuriated him. It's made him probably feel less of a man and caused all these issues that he had. So then everything at home became worse. He became more abusive. He became more angry. He became more just bad against us because of, I'm assuming, pressure, finances. Like, it's a tough thing. And if you're not a man, then you lash out on others when that happens. So during all of this, guys, like I lived a pretty good childhood, I would say, other than the crazy shit. Like my mom made sure we were educated. I was reading like very high level books as a young kid because of my mom. We were playing sports. I played sports my entire life. Even though we would have to go work to like buy new cleats for the summer or whatever, we still played and we were really good. Me and my brother were really good athletes. So we lived a fairly like normal life. And you don't really realize how poor you are until you become like a teenager, right? And then you compare yourself to other people and they have nice cars and they have nice phones and nice clothes and you're shopping at Goodwill and all these things, okay? So life continued on. I'm a little kid. You're pretty normal childhood. And then the next big change is when I'm 13. So when I'm 13, I don't remember what had happened. We had a basement that you couldn't go down the stairs. You had to like walk down the hill outside and get around to the basement. So I'm in the basement with my dad and he is like making me like find tools or something. I can't remember. And I had been getting bigger. I'm 13. I was still a little kid. I probably weighed 100 pounds, but I had gotten bigger and started to realize like, okay, like what he does to us is not cool. Like that's not right? Seeing him hit my mom or seeing him like terrorize me and my brother, or like, guys, for example, there's so much stuff like, I'm not going to say a lot on this of what had happened, but like, for example, if I was scared of the dark as a little kid, he would make me run into the woods, like not like all little woods in your street and your lights. No, like dark, deep forest, and make me run up this hill and chase me like the boogeyman was going to get me. Like that was his way of like getting me over my fear of the dark. Or like, how do you learn to swim? You get thrown into a pond, like that kind of stuff. So I won't go super into detail, but you guys get the idea. Not a good guy, did not treat us well. And I started getting bigger. So something had happened and he grabbed me and I think I couldn't find the right tool for something. Maybe I handed him like a Phillips screwdriver instead of a flathead or something. And he grabs me and he slams me against the wall and is kind of like, not like choking me, but like I'm pressed into the wall. And I had just had enough, man. I was 13. I was a little kid. I think I like slapped him or I hit him or I did something retaliation wise and I hit him in the face and he kind of just froze. That was the most terrified I've ever been in my life. I was like, fuck, I'm dead. I would look in his eyes, and guys, I'm not trying to be dramatic. I would look in this man's eyes and I would see Satan. I would see pure fucking evil when he would get like this. There would be times when he would be nice and it would be like soft eyes, but then there would be times when it's like whatever is inside of this guy, like swear he's possessed, like demonic, evil, pure rage. He like, the rage turned on and he just froze. And I think he was kind of like, didn't know what I had done, or maybe was trying to keep himself from just fucking killing me. I know this at this point. I have pretty good survival instinct. Like I'm a little kid. I grew up during all this. So I'm like, I'm fucked. I shouldn't have done that. So I run outside. I run upstairs. My mom, credit to moms. Moms have the best instincts ever. She had heard what was happening and him yelling at me. And I think she knew. And we had this little vent you could like peek into the basement. So I don't know if she saw, but I run upstairs. She already knew what was happening. I think she had already called the cops because at this point we were like, we'd had enough. And guys, when you're in an abusive relationship like that, like especially it's your father, there was a time when we were in the trailer and I obviously don't remember with my eyes, but my mom has told me this story. He pointed a shotgun at her head, at me and my brother, like on our knees in this trailer, and basically said, if you ever take them away from me, this is what's going to happen to all of you. So like, imagine you're my mom, and that's what you're told if you leave or if you retaliate or if you do something. That's how these abusive people like keep you in that loop. You know what I mean? So she, I guess, had enough and was like, okay, it's better to die than live like this. The same sense that I had believed. So the cops come, and this is a blur because this was a crazy day. He's like trying to get into the house. He's beating on the door. I think she locked the door. The cops come, remove him. Me and my mom, my brother, I think, get out our front door or something when the cops got there. So he's like occupied. We run, or did we drive? Honestly, guys, I can't remember. Like, I don't want to lie to you. My papa lived right next to us, and there was a path in the woods connecting his house and ours. I don't remember if we drove up or if we ran through the woods, but we go to my papa's house, and he kind of knows what's going on as well. At this point, I don't remember what happens. I think my father had came up to the house, and then police came and got him, or they got him and then they let him go through the house and take his stuff and leave. And mind you, when they gave him the chance to do this, he took all of our money. So we had no money to begin with. He took all of our money. He took all of me and my brother's fishing stuff, which pissed me off at the time. They took all of our guns. The cops took all of our firearms in case he came back. He couldn't use them against us. So now, like, we have no money. The guy who made any money at all, like the provider, is gone. Now we have no money. He took it all. The court system is bullshit. So this all happens. And I do want to say this. My grandpa passed away in 2021, but this kind of guy he was. So he slept outside on the porch that night. Like, I'm wearing a jacket. He slept on the porch that night with a pistol in his pocket because if he came back, like, we would have been done. You know what I mean? My papa stayed up all night, sat outside on that porch and waited for that guy to come back because he was going to shoot him if he did. Like, that's the kind of guy this guy was. So I miss him a lot. But what happens next is an example of how bad our legal system is. So my mom obviously gets a restraining order from him. So the restraining order is in place. The divorce process starts. And at this point, the court system is trying to make us visit him. They're trying to make us have a relationship with him. After we've told them, Judge Deering, this guy named Judge Deering from Piketon, Ohio, is the worst judge and one of the worst human beings I've ever met in my life. If anyone from Piketon sees this, fuck that guy. We literally told him what our father had done to us. He made us go do visitation with him at a security guarded facility in Chillicothe, Ohio. So you go through all this. You finally get the demon out of your life, and then you have to see the demon again, and you're forced. So we had to go through that for a bit, and then we just stopped going. I was like, fuck this, we're not doing this. So I'm like 13, 14 years old, and now I'm like, okay, I gotta be the man of the house. We have no money. We're broke. My mom obviously is raising us. Like, I don't know what we do. From there, me and my brother just started working. We started working on farms. We started weed eating. We started doing construction. We started flipping cars, flipping furniture. I was flipping guns to people. We were doing literally whatever to make money because we had to fend for ourselves. If we wanted new clothes or new cleats for football or whatever, we had to pay for that. Guys, I have the most amazing mom in the world. Thank God. If not, like, I wouldn't be here. She was working odd jobs. Like, I remember she would clean the schools in the summer for like minimum wage. She would substitute teach. She would clean houses. There was literally, we're doing everything we can. We're in an area with no opportunity, no internet. There's not much you can do. So I remember this number because my mom told me the first time I made a lot of money. She raised us on $14,000 a year. Me and my brother, 14 grand a year. I never went hungry. I always was clothed. We always kept doing sports and everything. And that's all because of her. She went hungry nights that we ate because she was so selfless. So that's why I've done everything that I've done is for her, guys. But the next thing is like realizing, okay, you got to be the man. And I'm a little kid, bro. Like I didn't really mature until like 20 years old, to be honest. Like I didn't get my beard till I was 20. So I'm a little kid and now I got to be a man. So I'm working, I'm doing all this stuff, and it's hard. It's really hard. That was like some of the hardest years of our life, was going to high school, going to junior high. You're poor. You start to realize that you're poor. You have all this traumatic shit that's happening in your life, and it's just a lot. It sucked. So we played a lot of sports, like I said. I played football and I ran track. I actually did something called pole vault, if you know what that is. And I was really good. I actually ended up getting college offers out of high school to play both football and pole vault at a couple of different places. Not D1. I was a little hillbilly kid, but D2. D2 is pretty impressive. So I opted not to do that. These basically teenage years for you guys, it was kind of the same old. Work, try to make money, struggle, hate my life, yell at God. Why am I dealing with this situation? Dealing with trauma, dealing with all this stuff, right? For like 6 years. Well, when I was 18, I had started, actually Sebastian Georgiou, I told him this when he came to my mom's house. I fucking love you, bro. He was one of the first videos I saw on YouTube, okay? So thank you, Seb, for everything you do. I'm gonna send you this video just for even posting the videos and existing. Like, I owe you. But I saw this video. I'm in high school with these little Chromebooks that they would give us. I didn't have a fucking laptop or internet, so I'm trying to just learn stuff at school my senior year. And I see like drop shipping, and I'm like, oh, e-com. Like, what the fuck is that? Oh, you can make money online. Like, there's these kids. I think he had a GTR then. This kid's got a GTR and he's 20 years old. Like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And this was when the light bulb went off. So all of senior year, I was like, I'm going to learn business. I'm going to do business. I'm going to keep learning about this. I want to be rich. Like, I know I got to make money, because even if I go to school and I get a degree and I make $100,000 a year, we're still broke. I got to take care of 3 people. We're still poor. I need to make millions of dollars. So I'm playing football, football season, senior year. That's like a very memorable thing, especially in a small town. And I get this girlfriend, and it was like my first like real girlfriend, I guess. Man, this girl sucked, but it's part of the story, so I got to tell you. Her dad's a preacher. She goes to a school 40 minutes away from me, and she comes and watches me play football one day, and, you know, high school romance, whatever. So I'm dating this girl, and I'm driving like 40 minutes to go see this girl all the time, spending my money on gas to go. And I had no money with this $500 Chevy Cavalier that I had bought. So I'm going to see this girl. Time passes, football season passes, and it's now like New Year's. This was like one of the nights that changed my life. So one of the most memorable nights of my life. So I go to this New Year's party with this girl in Chillicothe. So it's like 45-minute drive going normal speed. It's New Year's in Ohio, so it's like literally 0 degrees outside. I remember I saw on the app it was 0, like actual 0. So I'm leaving this party. Guys, I didn't really have a lot of friends in high school, to be honest. And it's not because I was rude to people. They just didn't like me. My mom always said they're jealous, but I was this little poor kid, so I don't know. I think I was just not good at making friends because I didn't give a fuck. I was worried about surviving and whatever. And kids used to make fun of me when I would talk about stocks and business, and I would talk about these cool things I was learning senior year, and they're like, oh, no, you can't do that. You're gonna be poor forever, kind of shit. So fuck all those kids. They're all fat and live with their parents now. So I'm driving home, and these kids are like texting or Snapchatting or something in this group. And long story short, I'm the last person to find out that my girlfriend has been cheating on me with this other kid at my school. So I'm like, damn, that's the first time this has ever happened to me. You know, like if you're a guy you've been cheated on the first time, you're like, holy shit. Because you don't really know how women are. You don't know like any of the red pill bullshit. You don't know dating. You don't know any of this. You're just like, oh, I really like this girl. I'm going to go hang out with this girl. And then you learn the reality of the world. So I'm the last to find out. I'm so embarrassed. I'm so infuriated. I've been spending all my money and all my time to go see this girl. So I'm driving home and I'm fucking pissed. And all of a sudden, a deer runs out into me, smacks my car, destroys it. And this is like leaving Chillicothe. So I'm still 30 minutes from my house in Southern Ohio. So my car is destroyed. And if you guys know anything about cars, if you break your radiator, which is like where the coolant runs through, it cools down the engine, you can't use the heat in your car. So my car is all kinds of fucked up. Like, I don't know what all was broken. The whole bumper's ripped off. I don't know where the deer went. There's blood and hair everywhere. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So I start crying. I'm like bawling my eyes out. I'm standing on the side of the road. It's 0 degrees. I don't have a coat because I just didn't bring a coat because I'm an idiot. And now my car doesn't work. It barely will drive. It's going like 5 miles an hour once I started driving. And it's 0 degrees. I don't have a coat. I don't have heat. I'm freezing my ass off. I call my mom. No answer. She's asleep because it's like 3 a.m. I call this guy who's like a father figure to me. He's asleep, obviously, with his family, 3 a.m. So I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? I have nobody to ask for help. I have no car to work. What the fuck do I do? So I remember this, guys. I'm standing on the side of the highway. There's people driving past me. No one's stopping. And I'm just looking up. And I just start screaming at God. Now I feel very bad for like talking to God in that way, but I was so mad. I'm like screaming at God and cursing. And I'm like, what the fuck do you want from me? My life is already horrible. The 2 things I had, I got this girlfriend, I got this nice car, it's all the money I had, and now it's gone. I don't know what the fuck to do with my life. Like I was furious. And then that rage is what carried me to here, to be quite honest, from that night. It made me so mad that like the universe had just spit in my face. After all this horrible stuff in my life, the universe just spits in my face. So I'm like, you know what? Like at a certain point, when you get really mad, it becomes comical. Like you still are furious, but you're not crying and sad. You're like laughing about it. And I got to that point and I was like, I was like, I'm going to go insane kind of feeling. So I get home, I can only drive 50 miles an hour. So my hands are literally frozen on the steering wheel. Like I genuinely thought like I was going to freeze to death. I was like, could not move my hands. They're froze to the wheel. There's cold air just pouring through the front of my car because it's all bashed up now. So I get home, there's snow on the ground. I just fucking park my car, slam my door, walk in the house, turn the hot water on. We had like 5 minutes of hot water because we had this water heater that didn't work. So you had 5 minutes and then it got ice cold, and it's in the middle of winter, so it lasted less. I sit in hot shower for a minute and I'm just crying. I'm like sobbing and I'm just like, bro, I'm like, I can't get to work now. I was a lifeguard at this town over at the YMCA indoors and like cleaned the gym senior year. So I'm like, I can't get to work. I don't have a car. I don't have any money. Like I'm back to fucking square zero after all this hard work of construction and 2 days in football and everything I'd done all summer. And I was pissed. And this is where you guys need to understand that God is real. So this happens to me. It's horrible. It's bad, but it set me up to be successful. One, it gave me the emotional anger to do so. My mom happened to work at the YMCA as well at this point. So I hitch a ride with my mom to work after school the next day. And there's this guy, I'm going to send this to you as well, John Paul White. The odds of this dude even being in my town, this dude's from Haiti. He was adopted from Haiti, okay? Being in my small ass town, the odds are like 0. And so I had like talked about stocks with this guy because I was like playing with Robinhood and I didn't know anything about it, what I was talking about. He randomly, that next day I go to work, he randomly comes up to me and he goes, hey brother, like I feel like you should read this. Out of the blue. No context, doesn't know what had happened to me, doesn't know what's going on. No context. Hey, brother, I think you should read this. And he hands me this book, and it's Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I'm like, okay. So I take it home, and I read it, and I started crying again because I had just felt something click, like the way it was supposed to be. I'm on my couch, and I'm like, it's like making me emotional. And I tell my mom, I'm like, Mom, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And she's like, what's that? And I was like, I don't know, but I'm going to be that because I'm reading this Rich Dad, Poor Dad book about like assets and liabilities and like the rich and the poor and the rich dad and the poor dad and all this stuff. I'm like, I want to be that guy. I'm sick of this fucking bullshit of being poor. I want to be that guy. That was like the turning point for a lot of this. So I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I decide that's what I'm going to do. And I decide to go all in mentally on that. So I basically let my pole vaulting season go to shit. Junior year, I won a conference, districts, and regionals, and then went to state. So it was like my area. I was running it. I was better than everybody. Senior year, I didn't do shit. I didn't care at that point. Like I still went to the meets, but I was like, I don't care because this is not going to get me anywhere in life. This is just like a temporary thing. Senior year of football, I went hard. I did my best. I did really good. I think I had like a dropped pass and a bunch of touchdowns that year. But like I realized like none of this matters. Like this football and sports and like what you knew or what you thought mattered at the time doesn't matter. Like what matters is me going and learning how to make a lot of money so I can take care of my family and never be in this situation again. So that's my pure focus. I let my grades go down. I didn't give a fuck about college. I didn't care. And I just spent all my time on this little Chromebook watching like Iman and Seb and whoever else on YouTube at the time talk about money. And hey, I'm making money with this. I'm running this business. I'm doing this. And I'm like, I've got to do that. And this is like spring of 2018, like the end of your senior year. So I was like, okay, I need internet. I can't graduate and then just sit at home. I don't have internet access. Like we live in the sticks. I can't get it. I came up with a master plan. And that plan was I'm going to use being poor and being a good writer to get a scholarship. And I'm going to go to college to save as much money as I can. And I'm going to use college for a semester to get a gym, to get food, to get a place to sleep and Wi-Fi. And that's going to be my big break. That's what I'm going to do. And that's exactly what the fuck happened. So I wrote the best essay I've ever written in my life. I won these scholarships. Thank you guys. Listen, I don't want it to sound like I was like trying to use this scholarship, whatever. It changed my life and it did what it was created for. It's called the J.B. Wilson. It's like a scholarship that some rich guy from like years and years and years and years ago had founded in my town. And they pick one person from each school every year. One person, that's it, out of the schools. And I won. And I'm very grateful for that. And if anyone watches this that is associated with the scholarship, thank you. You changed my life. And when I am in that position as well, I will come back and I will give money back to the town as well for your guys' kindness. So thank you. I used it for what I needed it. And I went to school and I had internet. I went to Wright State University, which is not a great school. It's like D1, but they don't even have frat houses. A bunch of drug dealers everywhere. So I went, I'd never partied before. I was like, I got to start partying a little bit. So I go party a bit. There's like shootings happening. There's like guns waving around at these parties. There's drugs, crazy shit going on. And I'm like, okay, don't need to be doing that. This is not a good idea. So I spend all my time and I learn. I skip class. I learn how to trade stocks. I learn how to sell things. I learn what an agency is. I learn what sales is. I learn everything would just fill notebooks with notes every single day during this whole process. So one day, somebody reaches out to me and is like, hey, you're trying to do an agency. Like, have you seen this program? And it was Iman's program. I'm in this program and a couple other ones. I just watched the course videos and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start an agency because I'm trying to sell like furniture and knickknacks on eBay and whatever. It's not a lot of money. So I gotta sell something more expensive. I gotta sell a service. So I was like, Facebook ads for realtors. That's a great idea. Horrible idea. So I start doing outreach to go get realtors that want Facebook ads. And I end up getting one. And he's like, hey, let's meet in person. So I borrow my buddy's car at college. I put on this outfit that doesn't fit, like these dress shoes, these dress pants that don't fit. I drive to this Red Robin or Beaver Creek, Ohio, and I have a meeting with this guy in person. I'm so nervous. I don't know how to do sales. It's my first meeting ever. I'm basically like, hey, we're going to do this and this, and this is going to happen. And he's like, okay, cool, let's do it. And then he leaves and I didn't take any payment. And I'm like, okay, I got a client. So I'm all excited. I'm like, I closed a client. No, I didn't. You got to get payment. When you close a deal, it's sales 101. I didn't even know at the time. So fast forward to this, guys. I drop out and I've got like $500 in my bank account from what this guy had paid me. I drop out. I go to this apartment literally across the street because I couldn't go far. Like I had a blown up car at the time. It's like Cadillac Eldorado. It's literally blown up, on fire, leaking oil. It's horrible. I pack up everything I own into this car and I go to the street over and I'm like, okay, this apartment complex, I need an apartment. I'm like, put me here. So I had a friend that was going to be my roommate. So I need like a duplex or a triplex, whatever. So she tells me, she's like, hey, we only have one available, but like it flooded last week. So it's like damage and there's tools everywhere. And I was like, I'll make you a deal. I was like, I'm not going to pass income verification. If you give me one, I'm going to be honest with you, but I promise you that I will pay you guys every single month. I will not get evicted. If you let me move into this unit, I will clean it up. I did construction, I did drywall. I'll clean it up, I'll fix it, and I won't complain. I won't say a thing about it if you will let me move in. And this woman, I think her name was Crystal. Thank you, Crystal. I love you to death. You saved my life. She let me do it. So I move in with my last $500. I had like $17 left after paying rent for that first month. So I move in with whatever little belongings I had. And then I didn't even have like a shower curtain. I had to go buy a shower curtain. I had to buy some food for the month. So I bought spaghetti noodles because it was like 99 cents or 85 cents. So I literally spent the last of my money and I had like $7 or $5 left. And I'm like, okay, we got the apartment. We dropped out. We have an idea of a service that we're going to sell to people. We got to get clients. We have no clients. We got to get clients. So guys, I convinced myself, and I don't want to be dramatic, I convinced myself that I was going to literally off myself if I didn't get a client that month because I would have got evicted and I wasn't going to go back home to Piketon. I could not face the shame of moving away to make something of myself and then fail and go back home. I was like, there's no way. So it's either you die or you get a client. I'm so serious. I'm not trying to sound cool. I'm not trying to sound dramatic. It was that serious in my head. It was like plan A works or we just don't exist anymore. That was how serious I was about this. So I spent every single day of my 30 days, basically long story short, I can't, God is real, guys. God is real. So 29 days of May, this was May. My mom's birthday is May 1st. So I'm like, if I don't pull this off, I'm going to have to off myself in the month of my mom's birthday. It's going to be horrible. Like I can't do that to her. I spent 29 days trying to get a client, doing Loom outreach, doing DMs, cold calling. I can't get a client. I'm just trying to sell anything at this point. Web design, ads, I don't know. I'm just trying to sell something. So day 29, I reach out to this guy on Instagram, his fishing page, Spool Speed High Speed Bearings. Guy named Scott Ballou owns this. Scott, I will send you this video as well. You saved my life. So I reach out to Scott and I basically am like, hey brother, your website sucks. You could be making a lot more money. It's a horrible pitch. So he gets kind of mad and he's like, oh, my website sucks? Like, who are you? Whatever. And I send him like a Loom of like, hey, I used to fish all the time. I grew up fishing. It's like fishing reel bearings, okay? And I'm like, hey, I think I can fix your website and I'm going to make you a lot more money. And I was like, just pay my rent this month and I'll build it for you. So he's like, okay, $500. So guys, I build this website. Actually, let's see if this website is still up. I love Scott to death. Saved my life. Let's see if this website is updated or, oh my gosh. Okay, guys, I built this website in 2019. If that's not proof for you, I don't know what is, but I made all these graphics. I built this whole site. That's crazy. So I built that website and I guess I did a pretty good job because Scott sends me his buddy who needs the same thing. And then that buddy sends me his buddy and his buddy. So now I have like a little bit of money coming in. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have to off myself. This is great. So the next 4 or 5 months, it's selling low ticket services like Facebook ads, website design, Shopify store builds, because that's all I knew how to do because I tried to play with dropshipping before. So I'm making like $1,000, $1,500 a month, and I'm paying my rent. I'm able to eat food. I'm like, okay, I'm fucking doing this. It's working. But then I'm like, okay, why did we originally do this? Well, I got to take care of my mom and my brother. I can't do that making this. I got to make more money. So I buy Sam Ovens UpLevel program at that point. So I buy UpLevel and I learn about webinars and funnels and like high level marketing and info marketing and stuff. So I'm like, you know what? I can sell like this webinar stuff to people for a lot of money because it makes you a lot of money. I get on a call one day with this lady named Karen. Thank you, Karen. Again, guys, if you notice, there's a lot of people that you got to thank on your way up. I get on this call and we have like a 2-hour call. I don't even know how to do sales. Well, I think you need a webinar. I'll build this webinar for you. Here's what I'll do. And she's like, okay, how much? And I'm like, $10,000. And the most expensive thing that I had sold before was literally like $1,500 or $1,000 before. I kind of just made it up and I was feeling ballsy that day. So I was like, 10 grand. And she pauses for a moment and she goes, oh, I thought it was going to be a lot more. And I was like, no, I fucked up, but 10 grand. So I get paid, call my mom. I'm like, Mom, I just made $10,000 like from a phone call. And she's like, no, what? Like, can't believe it. So I do this for her. And then I do this for another client. And then that's another 10 grand. And then I do this for 2 more clients. That's another 10 grand. So now I'm getting to like 20, 30K a month from building these webinars, but it's a lot of work. And I'm like, okay, this sucks. I'm making the money on the front end, but then I'm spending all this money and time to build the webinar and to actually like get it constructed and the contractors to help me build it and these funnels and everything. Even though I'm selling it for 10 grand, I'm only making like 3 or whatever. And it's taking me all this time to do. And I can only work with so many people at a time. So I'm like starting to see that this is not the way to go. So I run the agency for like a couple more months and I made my first 100K with this. Okay. So I buy a BMW, I'm living good. I move into a nice apartment, but even then I was getting burnt out and I was like, I don't love this agency thing. I think it's cracked up to be more than it is by these people. I don't like it. I am like, what am I good at? I'm good at sales. Like sales is the thing that got me out of all of this was I could speak with someone on the phone, convince them to give me money for something. That's my skill. Okay. That's what I'm good at. So I'm like, why don't I just do that? I can just sell all day and make money and not have to build things. So that's exactly what I did. I shut down my agency, I fired my team, and I went all in on sales. And guys, I sold everything over this next year from real estate offers to e-com to I think a dating offer, biz op offers, investment offers. And then the last one I sold was like a high ticket e-com biz op kind of investment thing. It was like $100,000. Okay. So I fly out to California. Client flies me and my brother out that we're working for. And I learned a lot that week. That was a good week. I learned how not to be a leader. So the guy that ran that company, I did not like. I was like, you treat your employees like shit. I don't think you're a good guy. And I don't think you're really good at what you do. And you kind of abuse your workers in a way. And I didn't like it. So I realized I was making like 20, 30K a month at this point. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be that guy, but I think I can do this better than him. I was like, I think I could 100%, like I'm watching what he does and they're making millions of dollars. I'm like, I can do this better than him. He's no smarter than me. He's not better to people than me. So like, why is he doing this and I'm not? And that's where the light bulb started is, okay, I don't want to build an agency, but I want to build something outside of just closing. Like I want to have more impact. I want to do bigger things. So I come back home and I basically quit that offer. And I'm selling for a few other offers, a real estate coaching offer in the meantime. And I go visit Miami because I've been on Twitter and I saw people talking about Miami. And I'm like, okay, I got to go check it out. So I go visit and I bring this girl with me. I'm like, okay, I got to move. I have to move. I decided that day. I was like, this is where I need to be. I saw the money. I saw the wealth. I saw the abundance. I come back home to Ohio. I pack my shit up. I get an apartment down here in Miami and I move. June of 2021, I move. I'm still like closing a little bit. I'm making good money, but I moved down here with like 15, 20 grand in the bank. So not a ton, especially if my rent was like 4 grand a month. And I'm like, okay, it's time to do something. So in this meantime, I kind of skipped over it, but I had been teaching some other people sales. I taught some people at that offer and I was teaching them and I was like recruiting some salespeople and teaching them sales. And then I started teaching people on my own for like $1,000 or $500. And they were like getting really good results. And I don't know if we have these testimonials, but we can slap these up as well. Like guys are like, hey, I collected 100K this month because of you, like crazy stuff. Light bulb goes off and I'm like, why don't I just teach people to do this? Because I saw Iman with his like agency program. I saw some people with e-com programs and I'm like, that stuff's cool, but like sales is so easy and simple and no one's really teaching it right now. Like, why don't I just do that? And at the time, I think Cole Gordon was the only person teaching sales. And Cole's a killer operator, but I thought he was boring. I thought he wasn't relatable, didn't really have a story like I did. And I was like, there's a lot of kids that are not being served here. So like, why don't we just start teaching kids how to do what I did? I went from literally nothing to where I'm at now, moving to Miami, getting a penthouse because of sales. And that is exactly what we did. So I started this little beta thing on Twitter called the Sales Training Group. Great name. and we sold 30 spots at $1,000 like that. And I'm like, oh shit, people really want this. Now I'm in Miami, I'm around some big money, I'm documenting my life, and I'm like, okay, let's drop everything. I was trying to do like sales management for a few people, be a sales manager. I was like, let's drop everything and go all in on this Closer Cartel thing, because I had seen the month before how people loved it. I'd seen the results we had, and that's what we did. So guys, I could give you like the story over the last couple years, but we launched Closer Cartel in July of 2021. And since then, everything has changed. I've traveled the world. I've retired my mom and moved her down here in a beautiful house. My brother is in sales as well. He lives down here now. I've taken care of my people. They're good. I bought some cool cars. I bought a C8 Corvette. I bought a G-Wagon. I now live in a nicer apartment. Like all the cool material stuff, whatever, right? But the coolest part is that initial beta group, those guys have gone on to run some of the top sales programs and some of the top sales teams in this whole industry because of the initial thing we started. We've had thousands of people come through our training since then, and we've had hundreds of people actually make 6 figures a year, like actually tangibly. We've got kids in rehab that are making money. We've got kids that come from broken homes like me making money. We got kids dropping out of school. We got kids quitting their 9-to-5s. And like the results that we have in the community is the coolest part, guys. Like a lot of coaching programs pop up and they die within a year, but our community is so strong and alive, and they love each other. Like it is the coolest thing I've ever seen, guys. And I mean, I'm already at like 40 minutes in this video, so I can't give you the detail of the last 3 years or 2 years. But basically it's been Closer Cartel, focus on getting results, helping people, changing their lives, making our training better. Like the only thing we've done since 2021. And then recently I bought a software company to help our students get more opportunities. It's called Closify. And now I'm running these 2 companies, and I'm just trying to do more of the same. Like honestly, guys, nothing really has changed other than just bigger scale, bigger volume. We're doing millions of dollars a year now, and I'm 23 years old. I'll turn 24 next year. And at 18, you guys know where I was because I just showed you at the beginning of this video. But at 23, I am a millionaire, and I live in Miami, and I've changed hundreds of people's, if not thousands of people's lives. And my mom is good. My brother's good. My family's good. I just got my mom health insurance for the first time in our lives yesterday. Okay, so this is a long video. This is not like super punchy like our other videos, and I hope you guys enjoy this. There's a lot that I couldn't share, to be honest, because I just feel like it's not the place to share it, especially on YouTube. But I want you guys to understand, if I can do this, if I can come from where I come from, the circumstances that I had, and do what I've done the right way without scamming people, actually helping people, always being honest, always doing the right thing, there's no reason why you guys cannot do the same thing. I believe in you guys, and I hope that maybe you can connect to the story a bit. All of this is factual. None of this is exaggerated for effect. Like this is my real life. I actually left out more than I actually told you guys. So I love you all. Thank you so much for all of the growth this year. We've had a lot of subscribers. Our Instagram's growing a lot. I really, really appreciate that, guys, because my sole mission, I've dedicated the last 3 years of my life to helping people make money in sales. It's literally my life's goal for the last 3 years, and we're doing it, and it's working. So that's all I have. I know this is a long video, but if you get through it, thank you so much. And maybe now you can see a little bit of the human side of me and not just cool stuff online and traveling and whatever. This is the real Luke. Kid comes from nothing. I'm a fucking hillbilly, and now I'm just making millions of dollars helping people and trying to help them do the same thing. Okay, so God bless you guys. I'll see you on the next video. Peace.